Sullivan.
Here.
Owen. Here. Lays.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Childers. Here. McGrath.
Here. The first order of business is the swearing in of our new board member. Paula, if you can come up, please. Raise your hand.
I, Paul Webster,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of office of member of the Board of Education,
of office of member of the Board of Education,
School of Maine Township District High School District 207,
School of Maine Township
High School
District
207,
207,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests
I shall respect taxpayer interests
by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion
by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board,
by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board,
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority
as an individual, and the decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
The decision can only be made by the full board at a public board meeting.
Public board meeting.
Public board meeting. There's a lot now.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
while retaining the right to seek changes
while retaining the right to seek changes
in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
in such decisions through ethical and
Constructive channels.
constructive channels.
I shall strive to make decisions
I shall strive to make decisions
that are in the student's best interest
that are in the student's best interest
and will help all students,
and will help all students,
regardless of race,
regardless of race,
religion, sex, national origin,
religion, sex, national origin,
citizenship, marital status,
citizenship, marital status,
physical or mental handicap,
physical or mental handicap,
or sexual orientation,
or sexual orientation,
achieve their academic potential,
achieve their academic potential,
and acquire a lifelong love of learning.
and acquire a lifelong learning.
Congratulations. Next agenda item is 207's best for extracurricular activities. First up is Glenn Walters.
Hi, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Cassidy Ribertella. Cassidy, stand up please so we can see you. Cassidy. Cassidy comes from a legacy of Ribertella's, and she has upheld that legacy and then some. She is no less than awesome. I was trying to think of a different word. I know I use awesome all the time, but she exemplifies awesome. Really, in my 29 years in education and my 9 years as a principal, I have never seen a student, like Cassidy, just really rise to the top. She's made a huge difference in our school. She's involved in the principal's leadership team, which is why I know her so well, from her first semester at Maine West. Just at the end of that first semester, we asked all of the freshman teachers to nominate one student or two students from that freshman class who had potential to be a leader. And Cassidy got more votes than any other student ever in the history of nominations. And then when it came to this award tonight for a student who excels in extracurriculars, in every single area of extracurriculars, again, Cassidy got more votes than anybody else, and I was the biggest cheerleader for her. She's got this long list of things that she does, and I'm not going to read it all to you, but she's an athlete, she's a scholar, she's dedicated to Maine West, she's dedicated to our special ed students. When she walks down the hallway, you think you're walking with a rock star because everybody knows her. But she's got this very cool, calm demeanor about her. She's not arrogant, she's quiet, she's helpful, and the special ed students absolutely adore her. As do I. So she leads our principals leadership team meetings. I've turned it over to her. I don't do the agendas. I don't have to get the other students in the room to be quiet. Cassidy will just immerse herself amongst that group and will seek feedback from other students at Maine West and just make a huge difference. Again, my voice shakes because she's awesome, and I will miss her. She's definitely one of 207's best of all time, and she's terrific. So, Cassidy, tell us who you are with tonight. Introduce everybody, please.
I'm with my mom and my dad right here.
And what are your plans next year?
Next year I will be attending Loras College in Iowa, and I will be majoring in special education and elementary education, as well as playing volleyball and running track.
I can keep going.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry. Next up is Maine East, Dino, if you could.
Sure. I'm proud to recognize Alante Slowick. Or you can stand for Dr. Pressler could not make it this evening. We prepared a letter that I'm going to read for you. I'm pleased to recognize Alante Slowick as one of District 207's best in the area of extracurricular activities at Maine East. Alante has been a true Maine East success story. She has gone from a timid freshman to a confident young adult, excelling in the athletic arena and increasingly in the academic arena over the past 4 years. Alante has been an outstanding competitor and representative for Maine East as a member of our basketball and track and field teams. A 4-year veteran of girls basketball program, Alante has been on the varsity team for 3 years and has been a starter for the past 2 years. She was a strong contributing member to an incredibly cohesive team that made history for winning the CSL Conference Championship this year. She received the CSL Scholar Athlete Award for basketball this year and was selected to play in the pre-shootout All-Star basketball game in March. Additionally, she made All-Conference for basketball and received all-area recognition from the Bugle and Pioneer Press this year. She's an IHSA Scholar for basketball, was Maine East Athlete of the Week, received the Coaches Award for basketball, and received recognition as CSL Athlete of the Week. Additionally, she was nominated for and received CSL's Full Package Athlete of the Month. Alante has been on varsity track and field team for 4 years. She qualified for state as a sophomore in high jump and is a junior in discus and high jump. She was named all-conference for track her sophomore and junior years and will be so again as a senior. Was named CSL Athlete of the Week for freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Additionally, she was on the team that broke the Maine East record for 400-meter relay during her sophomore year, and during her junior year broke Maine East records for triple jump, shot put, and discus. Currently, Alante is nationally ranked in discus. In addition to her athletic achievements, Alante is a 4-year member of Maine East Orchestra, DECA, and currently secretary of the Polish Club. She's a member of the Student Art Club panel, which has been very visible and frankly quite successful in engaging students and staff in our continuing implementation of positive supports interventions. She is on the honor roll and has been accepted at a number of colleges next year. Maine East English teacher Natalie Bourne shared the following reflection on Alante, who was a student in her English 3 class last year. Alante is an overcomer. She is featured in our next art code teaching video with a scenario that really happened. She frequently doubted herself and had negative talk with herself almost daily. She made the decision on her own to seek out support, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the staff members she chose for support. She worked with a tutor over winter break and used the Kaplan ACT prep book and liked it. She presented it to me and was able to articulate why the book was helpful and why I should use it in the classroom so that other students could benefit. I agreed, and Alante helped present the lessons in classes. She continued to seek help and asked if I would be willing to tutor her and 2 of her friends over the summer. She attended every meeting, even when her friends did not. She improved her overall ACT score and raised her overall score to 21. We are most proud of her reading score. She scored a 13 on her practice ACT reading and brought it up to a 30. She actually smiled when she told me to score. She overcame major obstacles and demonstrated persistence to reach her goal. Varsity basketball coach Carol Vanuzzi commented, Alante has opened up and taken advice and help from her coaches, but mostly she has made a conscious decision to be the best she can be. She has put in time, effort, and energy to achieve everything she has. Alante could be the poster child, emphasizing that hard work really does pay off. I am so happy that I've been a part of her success story and have been able to see her achieve this recognition. SPS staff member Aaron Waller explained that Alante is a positive role model for her friends and peers. Furthermore, she provides others consistent support and always encourages others to seek support. Try the best and make good decisions. She is incredibly humble and gracious. She's always respectful to adults and students in the building. Alante puts 100% effort into improving herself and reaching her goals in track, on the basketball court, in school, and in life. I've enjoyed watching Alante's growth. I'm all-around student at Maine East. Her sense of poise and quiet self-confidence are impressive. She walks and talks in terms of a quote that she focused on during her junior year. I am, I can, I will. And she does. With every challenge, with every goal, every day. On behalf of the faculty and staff of Maine East High School, I am proud to call Alante Slowick one of District 207's best. Her accomplishments speak volumes to her character and serve as a source of pride for her family, our school, and our community. We wish her the best in her future pursuits and eagerly await new achievements. Real quick, why don't you tell us who's with you tonight?
This is my mom and my little sister and my track coach and was born and research.
Finally, can you share with us what your plans are for next year?
My plans for next year is to attend Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin and major in the field of business marketing and computer science while running on the track team and playing basketball.
Election Ward, Maine South.
I'd like to present Greg Ebacher as Maine South. We have some fellow American government students with us here. Greg's probably one of the most well-known students at Maine South. He can be seen either participating in or attending just about every event that we have. The best way to describe Greg is that he's everything you want in a high school student. He's kind, he's courteous, he's thoughtful, he's tough, he's dedicated, hardworking, grateful, humble, and smart. Greg's involved in a ton of activities. He's best known as the captain of the football team. His athletic honors include being named not only captain, but selected for the academic all-state athlete list. He's a Central Suburban League Scholar Athlete and an all-conference selection. He was selected for Athletic Council, and he's a member of South Stars. He's been Student of the Month 4 times, a Hawk Pride Student of the Quarter 2 times. He's been a member of DECA. Very impressive accomplishments, but there's another side outside of school to Greg that some people know about, but maybe not many. He gives freely of his time as a tutor to middle school students. He yearly participates in the Special Olympics playing pool, Misericordia's Family Fest, Italian food booth and candy days during a Chicagoland fundraiser. He was involved in the Got to Run for Education 5K. He's a member of Crux at Mary Seat of Wisdom and is a leader there. And when a fellow student with Down syndrome wanted to get in shape, who we all know, he's a very popular young man in our building, Greg took him under his wing and created a workout program for him, and he continues to train with him after school. As you might imagine, teachers have great things to say about Greg. Coach and Sarah, he never takes a shortcut, he leads vocally and by example, and wills his teammates to give all they have. His overachieving attitude is contagious. Miss Clark is counselor. Even as a freshman, Greg has always exhibited care and concern for others. He's what you would call an old soul with a sense of perspective that transcends his age. Miss Ball, who I think is here tonight, I saw her. states, "It's hard to attend a Maine South event, a dance, a fundraiser, a play, sporting event, and not see Greg there. He understands school spirit and will always come up to you and say hello. He supports his peers in all of their endeavors. Greg always does his best in the classroom. He comes in every day with his homework completed, ready to ask any necessary questions or help a classmate he needs. He advocates for his own learning and for the learning of his peers. He's bright, personable, and sees the best in everyone, and he does it with humility." There's a story that Mr. Stock actually shared with me, which kind of sums up Greg. He's a quiet kid, but he's so thoughtful and goes out of his way on a personal level when he knows that maybe you're struggling with something. Greg always demonstrates positive values, good humor, and respect for others. Greg always strives to fix the problems we had on the team, be they specific to a situation at hand or with differences between players. Personally, Greg is compassionate. This past spring, my wife was diagnosed with a kidney ailment and blood poisoning. I did not inform many people. However, Greg noticed the times I was away and asked and emailed me several times how my wife was doing and how I was doing specifically. In this teen me generation, I was very happy and proud to see a Maine South student respond like this. For all his involvement at Maine South, what impresses me personally most about Greg is that he's generally a nice young man. There's so much to him, but 3 words always come to mind when I think of Greg, and that's smart, grounded, and giving. Students and staff both have the utmost respect for Greg because he's quick with a smile, quick to help in a pinch, and sees it as his responsibility to model for others the right way to do things. The thread that runs through all the comments made about Greg is that his focus is not on himself, but on those around him. It's not that Greg has a magical gift that sets him apart from others, but that his caring and hard work make him mature beyond his years. He has a true sense of service leadership that will serve him well into the future. Greg, we're so very proud of you. Congratulations. Greg, who's with you tonight, and what are your plans for next year?
This is my mom, Ginny, Mrs. Ball, right over there, and my dad.
Next year?
I'm going to the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota to play football, and not really sure what I want to major in, maybe something in business, maybe accounting, we'll see.
Excellent. Thank you.
Nice try, though. Greg, on behalf of the board, congratulations. Good luck. Woo!
Next item on the agenda is a resolution honoring the service of board member Donna Peller. Do I have a recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Second, thank you. Ginny, for the roll.
Childers. Aye. Lees.
Aye.
Owen.
Aye.
Sullivan. Lee.
Aye.
Bessler. McGrath.
Aye. Just like to read the resolution so everyone can recognize all the great things that Donna has done for us here in District 207. Whereas Ms. Donna Peller was elected to the Board of Education in November 1995 and thereby served 19 years during 5 terms, served as board president and longtime board vice president. Ms. Peller has given generously of her time and talents to board activities. And whereas Ms. Donna Peller has served as a member of the Employee Relations, Community Advisory, Education, Finance, Policy, and Building and Grounds Committees, and District 207 Education Foundation, Maine Township Special Education Program, Maine Community Youth Assistance Foundation, and Alliance for Lifelong Learning. Whereas Ms. Donna Peller is leaving the Board of Education, now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Board of Education of Maine Township High School District 207 express sincere appreciation and gratitude to Ms. Donna Peller and recognize and commend her for her contributions to good school community relations, her insight and guidance to instructional efforts to improve student performance, her concern for the welfare of staff, students, and families, and her tireless efforts to promote and recognize student achievement at each of the high schools. Thank you, Donna.
students that are in the room to emphasize the fact that Donna's been in high school now for 20 years.
I'm following the toughest act imaginable, but I'd like to thank the students for being here to share this with me. The parents, you've done a remarkable job with your kids, and you shared them, your kids, with us. To my fellow board members, the administration, staff, thank you all for the fabulous work you do. It has been an honor and privilege to be here. I'm humbled by this, really am. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the next item on the agenda, if the students of the month and their parents and principals could step out into the hall. Mr. Barry would like to take some photographs. Well, Donna, if you'd like to get a picture, I think we'd like to get a picture of you, Donna, and I can begin. And this is your chance to leave before we get into the business part.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight instead of displays.
Yeah. Well, Todd's in displays, but I'm worried he's going to leave early, and then I'm going to be left watching videos tomorrow morning. I'm sure. This is what happened 2 weeks ago.
I'll be watching videos tomorrow, I know. It's either this or displays, you know, so they said send me here tonight. I usually have to back cover one of the two, so.
A lot of Arlington Heights going on too, and they're talking about a police and fire union contracts tonight, and the village manager search.
Oh, geez.
I still have to go here.
You cover Arlington Heights?
Yeah, mostly. Well, probably more displays now, but yeah. So I know Melissa really well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah,
These meetings usually go pretty long. Not as long as displays.
We go longer than usual. And tonight there's like the closed session and then action afterwards. Which last time I said, they did that like last month too, but I didn't for the second part. But I mean like, it could be like an hour just like sitting there. And like, because it's a teacher contract, well, you want to stay, right?
Well, two of the things, and
remember this teacher dismissal, whatever that is.
they said they weren't going to vote.
Yeah.
But
just in case.
No public comments? Thank you. Next up, updates from superintendent.
Okay, three things tonight. We'll start with a couple of really special things. We have our three really dedicated and wonderful fine arts chairs here. Mr. Ed Eubank from Maine East, Mr. Pat Barnett from Maine West, and Ms. Carolyn Keith from Maine South. And they are going to present the board with a National Music Award that our fine arts programs have recently received. So I'll turn the floor over to our fine arts chairs.
Okay, we are here tonight to let you know that back in December, we got together and decided to apply for national recognition through an organization known as NAM. NAM is the National Association of Music Merchants. It's a major organization for not only the music industry, but also advocacy in music education. We had heard of this award in the past, but had never really taken the time to really give some input as to why Maine Township should be considered for the award. So we took some time in December and got together some data. Mary Blue was very helpful, as well as Don Martzoff, with some budget data, some demographic data. And essentially, we just started plugging this information into a very large survey. The information included questions and answers to questions about programs, facilities, professional development for our teachers, the ratio of the percentage of students involved in the music program, a lot of very technical information about budget, and there was a lot of sort of thick numbers that we kind of generated into the survey. And then there were some other questions that Carolyn will tell you about.
So once we finished with the nuts and bolts of this application process, we came to the narrative section, and one of the questions we were asked was, what makes your district uniquely qualified to receive this award? And it's sort of a great moment for the three of us, because I think in tandem we looked at each other and we said the students. And we were able to talk about their leadership skills, their connections with our community, the leadership they have not only with their musical talents in the music program, but also school-wide. We were able to talk about our teachers and how not only the teachers, but also the students rank in regional, rank in state, rank nationally. Our teachers are leaders with our state organization, and so that was quite fun to answer for us.
And also our connections to the community. Maine Township is known for its strong booster groups with our parents, both in fine arts, music, and drama. We were able to talk about that. Our connections to our larger community within our schools and how great the support is that we receive from the community, from the Board of Education, from all of our stakeholders. And so back in March, we were notified that out of 3,000 schools that applied for this, and about 10% recognized in the state of Illinois, we were one of them, Maine Township, as a collective group. And so tonight we're here to present to you a certificate both to the board and to all three schools recognizing our accomplishment. And thank you for your support of what we do.
Thank you.
And again, thank you very much on behalf of all of us. It is a group award, and it is something that we know the board plays a huge role in orchestrating that musical success for all of us. So thank you for your ongoing support.
Thank you guys very much. The second item, I communicated with the Board of Education, and we've done some things publicly in the press, but I want to acknowledge at the board meeting tonight that we had an academic first for District 207, and that is this year all three of our high schools were named to one of the America's Top High Schools list, and this year it was with the Washington Post Challenge High Schools. Essentially, what the award signifies is that each of our three high schools has met criteria to be considered among the most challenging high schools in America. And that's a reflection of a lot of things, not the least of which is the course that the Board of Education has set for us for many years. It's an indication of the really good work that the principals have done, work of people like Dr. Del Varga and others who have really set a course for us academically to be not just good, but getting better all the time. And that's really indicative because schools in America are better than they've ever been before. So to maintain a position on this list, you literally have to be in a state of continual improvement. You've got to raise your game every year. And so the fact that all three of our schools in 1 year have done that is a really remarkable achievement, and I couldn't be more proud of our three high schools. It's a very rare district that has one of its high schools on this list. To have all three on simultaneously is a remarkable achievement, and it's one that I can assure you we will not rest on our laurels, but we will use this as a new baseline and move forward from there in improvement. So congratulations to all three schools, Maine East, Maine South, and Maine West High School for making a list of top American high schools for the Washington Post. And one more item, and I'm going to turn to Mary Clue to give a real quick update on an issue with one of Des Plaines TIFs that we've been informed about here just recently. So I'll let Mary just give a quick update on that.
TIF number 6, which is located at the corner of Higgins and Devon, has been struggling for...
Actually, Higgins and Manheim.
Has been struggling for many, many years. So the city approached us last week with a proposal to subdivide the TIF into TIF 6, which would be some of the parcels that are up and running and doing well. The banquet hall, there's a Starbucks there, and then creating TIF 7 that they would be able to market for redevelopment. The issue that they're having is during the life of the TIF, they purchased the property, which has taken the base increment from a value to a zero value because it's owned by the city, and therefore they have no dollars being generated by the TIF. So they're unable to meet any of their debt service obligations. So this was our first very preliminary meeting with them. We went back and asked them to give us some kind of projections in terms of what type of development would it be, what type of EAV would we be looking at, as well as a template for an intergovernmental agreement, and we will bring that information back to the board once we have it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Updates from board members. Okay, policy committee meetings, April 7th and 17th. Carla?
We did have meetings. We have some policies coming forward for first reading. I'll let that be covered in the, later on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Finance, April 17th, Sean?
April 17th, we met, we had three main issues that we discussed. The first one was a modification of the projected surplus for this year, fiscal year, which was budgeted 5.5 million, and we were reducing it to 3.8. That was due to a loss of $800,000 in corporate personal property tax, as well as receiving $723,000 less in special education state government. The second item we discussed had to do with a parking traffic control agreement with Park Ridge. There were some pages missing from that, so we postponed it to the following month in order to get the full contract so we could review it and make a recommendation to the board. And then there was the NRMAC agreement, which has to do with the district agreeing to go off the grid during high power usage period, and that we would get paid for that time to go off and get paid for it.
Thank you. Next up is our reorganization. Do I have a motion for us to adjourn to reorganize?
So moved.
Second. Can you please call the roll, please?
Lee. Childers. Lays. Bessler. Owen. Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. Okay. Please, do the roll call, please.
Bessler. Here. Childers. Here. Lee. Lays. Owen. Here. Sullivan.
Here.
McGrath.
Here. Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that Marcus McGrath serve as the president pro tem.
I'll second.
Jenny, please take the roll, please.
Childers. Sullivan. Owen. Lays. Bessler. Lee. McGrath.
Aye. Okay,
I would nominate Margaret McGrath for president of the Board of Education.
I mean, it's secretary pro tem.
Secretary pro tem. Oh, Ginny Edwards for secretary pro tem.
Second.
Roll.
Childers. Owen. Sullivan. Lee. Lays. Bessler. McGrath.
Aye. Next up is election of president.
Previously spoken motion of nominating Margaret McGrath for president of the Board of Education.
You should have 2 seconds.
Yeah. Just, I need 3. 4 seconds, an hour, maybe. Jenny, please take the roll, please.
Owen. Sullivan. Lee. Childers. Bessler. Lays. McGrath.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion for Carla Owen to serve as vice president of the Board of Education for 2014-2015.
Second? Second? Take the roll, please.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Bessler. Childers. Owen. Lays. Lee. McGrath.
Aye. Thanks so much for that. And now we need a motion to appoint secretary.
I so move.
Second.
Yes, thank you.
That Ginny?
Jenny Edwards, without question, it's secretary.
Take the roll, please, Jenny.
Lays.
Aye.
Childers. Sullivan.
Aye.
Owen. Bessler. Lee. McGrath.
Aye. Next up is the calendar of Board of Education meetings for 2014-15. I have a question, before we go, have a recommendation on that. Do we need, because of the way we do our finances, we need the August 4th meeting? Mary?
Yes,
Okay,
we need an August meeting, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the 4th.
okay, that's fine. So we'll just,
We need to July.
Yes, we need one meeting a month so we can pay bills.
I make a motion to approve the calendar of Board of Education meetings for 2014-2015 as presented.
okay.
Yeah, and you're free to move and cancel any meeting by board vote. That's all. We do need to set up meetings.
All right.
Bessler. Aye. Lee.
Aye.
Childers. Aye. Owen. Aye. Lays.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
McGrath.
All right, next item is the monthly status of finances. Mary?
I would make a motion that we adjourn the city back. We have to come out of city back.
Do we?
To the remainder of the business report. I'm motion to adjourn the realization.
Okay, is there a second to adjourn the reorganization? Carla? And then take the roll.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Lays. Lee. Childers. Aye. Bessler. McGrath.
Aye. A motion to go into regular session of the Board of Education?
I think the minute we adjourn city back,
Sit down,
it's back in
okay.
regular session.
Okay.
But just to be safe, I'll make a motion to resume the regularly scheduled board meeting. Second.
Childers. Aye. Lee. Lays.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Bessler. Sullivan.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye.
You don't have to do that.
Madam President, as a point of order, the board secretary appointment includes the compensation. Always says included in there because it's a year appointment.
I would propose that we change the compensation of the board secretary from the previous year.
Not this month.
Well, because that includes the compensation as it stands right now.
I think what we did a couple of years ago was when we moved her to an exempt Fair Labor Standards Act employee.
So it's part of her overall compensation?
It's part of her overall compensation. It's not a separate stipended position any longer. So there's no.
Just want to make sure you got
Zero.
Very well known by assistant.
Now gets the same salary as the rest of us. Okay, anything else? Are we ready to go?
The only thing that came out early, assuming it's a students, you might ask regular questions about the data after your communications section.
They might. Are there any questions? Take a moment.
Okay.
Okay, great. Monthly status of finance, Mary.
In your board packet is the market financials. We are 75% through the year, and our revenue is in the 90s because property tax bills go out in March, so that explains the jump. On the expenditure side, we are trending where we should be, since many of our employees are on 24 pay, and we run several of their paychecks in June to pay them over the summer. So we would not expect our expenditures to be at 75%. Also included in the monthly financial report is the third quarter budget update. As Board Member Sullivan referenced, we are now projecting a surplus of $3.8 million. The reduction from the $5.5 million budgeted is primarily due to the reduction in corporate personal property replacement tax and state reimbursements for special education funding. I will entertain any questions that the board has on the March financials or the third quarter budget update.
Thank you very much, Mary. Next update is instructional services.
First report in front of you is one you've seen for the past 2 years. This is actually the third year that we have received data from the National Student Clearinghouse that tracks our graduates into college. You'll remember that several years ago we moved from just taking anecdotal information from students to actually looking at enrollment information, where they actually attend and what percentage of our students actually go on to college. Just to give you some highlights, and I'll see if you have any questions. Remember the Student Clearinghouse data reflects 96% of colleges in the country and their enrollments. And we have, as a district, about 81% of our students, our 2013 class, who enrolled immediately in the fall following graduation. Top destinations still continue to be Oakton, University of Illinois, Chicago as a district. At Maine East this year, 78% of our students enrolled in college, and that ties their highest ever percentage. 90% of our South students are figured here are 74% at West. The charts that are in your report will give you some good information, but I also gave you a color-coded one in front of you in case you did not access it online. But I find this particular graph to be the most helpful. Having more time, I would project it for you, but what it really tells me is that the first 2 years after graduation are pretty critical to get college on the radar of our students, because that's when you find a lot of decisions are made, whether they attend the first fall out, or they attend halfway through that first year, or they enroll the second year out. And then the other thing I'd call your attention to on this graph is that while we, as parents paying for tuition, would like them to finish in 4 years, you can see from the bar graph that it takes quite a few of our students 5 years and sometimes 6 years to finish that 4-year degree, or less if they're pursuing a 2-year degree. Does the board have any questions about the report? If this is a typical report that you've seen in the past.
I have one question, sure, with what we received. I noticed that the percentage of students who go on to 4-year colleges in the past year dropped at one of the schools, while the 2-year enrollment went up, but not the other two. What do we do when we see something like that happen?
Well, first of all, Don is with me this evening, and you want to specifically point to which?
Just kind of, it's
sometimes the drop isn't a significant drop in terms of statistically speaking.
Could be. It was Maine West, the enrollment in 4-year went down a little bit, whereas at the other two, it went up a little bit. I did notice at Maine West that the 2-year enrollment number went up. I'm just wondering what we do. You know, that to me is, we see a different trend in one of our schools, and I'm just wondering what we do to tease out why that happens and maybe, address it.
One thing that has been happening easily over the last 5 years especially, is we have more specialized articulated programs where our students are earning dual credits through Oakton while they're doing high school courses, and I think that impacts sometimes the enrollment. So it could be students who are in a specialized program, the economics of it certainly plays a role. We saw a huge spike when the global market crash happened. We and everyone in the country saw a really, really big spike in community college enrollment. It leveled off there for a while, but I think that certainly plays a factor as well.
I agree, and I saw that, but I think in the past year, what I saw was a difference between Maine West and the other, in the South and East. And I'm just asking.
Well, I can tell you, our low-income population is increasing a bit, and students are also choosing to start at a 2-year college for financial reasons, and then go and finish off after Oakton or wherever they're going to Harvard.
So it might be something demographically to you.
I think partially demographically, but also it doesn't even necessarily have to do with demographics. Some students are just making the choice not to be in debt when they leave college. So I meet with the seniors and ask them what their plans are after high school, and more of them are saying Oakton simply for financial reasons.
Or be less in debt when they leave college.
To be less in debt. They will be
But
in debt.
our community college is certainly the best choice. Not at all.
One of the growing trends too is what's being called a 6-year high school program. It isn't a really new idea, but it is linking high school with, we have perfect partners and perfect partner in fact in Oakton, where students begin taking dual credit courses in the high school level or go right into the first 2 years of college post high school, so that they've got some programming out of the way. They aren't heavily indebted, and that's kind of a model that you see growing a lot. Dr. DeVarg and I have had some preliminary discussions with Oakton about that kind of a concept. So actually, I think in service of our students and their families, growing that trend might actually be a really good thing for our students, particularly for that 15% or so that we're not sure if they're going to school. Yes?
I do have a question regarding most of the students who could be graduating, attending working communities college for 2 years. Do we have some kind of data after maybe like someone says, maybe after the graduation, could they be able to transfer to 4-year college? Where to and maybe what percentage? Is there somewhere we might be able to get some kind of data related to that?
Yeah, we do get the raw data that's behind all of this, which tracks students' enrollment by semester. So it's a huge data set that's a little bit complex because you have kids, you know, they come home for the summer, take class at Oakton, and then they go back to UI, and then enroll full-time there. So it's messy, but it is possible to kind of get an idea of, a rough idea of the number of students that start at Oakton and go to 2-year college and transfer to 4-year college.
And also in addition to, based on the national data, most of the graduate students who after graduate college or university 4 years, they're in a national debt of approximately about $57,000 or so. Is there any advanced educational system or that we might able to provide it to the students and to their parents, how they could able to continuously save it? What's the strategic way to, best way to save the money when they graduate university with the less debit or less burden, financial burden, possibly can be able to provide such?
So basically offer a consumer ed class on furthering your education. I mean, the 2+2s have been around for a long time. When I went to high school, I attended Oakton at the same time I did credit classes. So my first courses were Oakton. And I can tell you that Triton is the #1 destination for graduates of Oak Park River Forest. So it's very common that the students come to 2-year schools first. And it's not just that they can't afford to go to 4-year schools, but as Audrey said, you know, they're trying to get out of school with a lot less debt than they're currently going in. But, you know, I think that the community college would be more than willing to partner with some kind of an education program to show that benefit, because we can get all the transfer data on students as they turn around and go to the 4-year school. The Illinois Articulation Initiative, which uses the University of Illinois Champaign as a center base, creates a standard by which all of our classes have a reciprocal partner in the state university system. So if you wanted to go to Western or Northern, you would punch in the class that existed at Oakton or Triton, and it would tell you what class was the equivalent of it at whichever school was your destination in Illinois, but that's the IAI. So yeah, you can certainly plan out your education, more so than just getting a 2-year general associate's degree, which would take care of your general studies. So there's multiple options for turning around transferring out of our community college into university.
This coming summer, Oakton is partnering with us to run what we're calling the Bridge Program for about 75 of our students who likely wouldn't have considered college, or perhaps need just a little bit of a leg up in order to get a foothold and start a college transfer, and also to receive some financial literacy training so that they don't inadvertently use up all of their financial aid in certain courses. So between the junior and senior year for these 75 or 78 students, Oakton is going to be providing at no charge except for a $25 application fee, 6 hours of credit for them. They're going to take care of their English course, and they're also going to get 2 hours of financial literacy so that they know how to plan going forward if they're successful in that English course, to continue building a transcript and then planning for the future when perhaps they might even leave Oakton and go to a 4-year school. We're going to watch this program carefully and see if we can build upon it for other groups of students in the coming years.
But at the same time, parents also need to properly educated and well informed regarding such. So closely working with the Navy Oakton Community College, if somehow we can able to relay those informational educational items to the student, not only students, but at the same time to the parents, so that the parents can make that wise financial decision for the same time.
I think there was a parent component to this. The parents and the students were involved in the initial orientation meeting, and I will relay your suggestion as well, just to be sure that we're happy.
And we do have some financial workshops for parents on a pretty regular basis about this, about FAFSA and those kind of things. You know, related to that, so I know we've got some of those on an ongoing basis.
Well, like for example, FAFSA, as a parent school, it's quite difficult to understand, and I think sometimes you might need some more than once or twice informative information regarding who such. Otherwise, you're just going to miss a lot of opportunities.
Thank you. I believe we have a report on textbook and school and course fees.
Right, I'm standing in for Hank on this. Before you get to that, you do have a page which summarizes our summer curriculum projects, proposals, and budgets. And we'll be bringing you more information at the next board meeting as we actually peg names to projects. But just so that you can see how we're spending our grant monies and our district funds to support work this summer and the various projects and initiatives that's going to support. So that's one of the pages in between the college report and then the new textbook.
Barb, you said you would be bringing us a list of what some of that money
Right,
can be spent
right.
on.
We have to, we're waiting for schedules and, you know, people are planning their summers, and so we're not ready to put names and titles exactly in front of you. We'll bring that next time. So the textbook proposal document here. You know that we bring textbooks in front of you first for a first reading, and that's what this packet is for. And then in June we will get them again, and that's when we will ask for your approval. So I'm expecting that you might have some questions, and we'll try to get those answered for the next time, or you can forward those questions to Hank or to me, and we'll get those answers for you as well. But this document represents some interesting information. As we are shifting now from Chromebooks more into the digital world, you can see that we have an increase in digital textbooks, an increase in what are called blended textbooks. Those are books that are probably going to be available in both digital and paper form. For example, in the math classroom, where some of the concepts might be available through digital lessons and some kind of web tool. But there will also be perhaps some workbook pages that could be printed out to supplement that. So that would be an example of a blended sort of a textbook. And then, of course, there are still a few print textbooks that are left. The supplemental books that are listed there, those tend to be the English novels that are choices for literature circles that are still prevalent in paper and just in that fashion. In the document that you received online, there are live links to the supplemental material for each of these books. So if you want to dig in and really look at what is the book about, what does it cover, why was it chosen, in that digital document you can click on that. That's not, the detail is not in the board book. The board book would have to be thicker to include all of that information. But I would point to the spreadsheet that you have, and just simply, even if you look at the first couple of pages, you can start to see what's beginning to happen. For example, let's just take even the mathematics pre-calc book, which in the old system might have cost $163. Now the cost to a student who's going to be able to access it on the Chromebook is going to be $17.49. You can find other examples of this. The Chem 2 book in the old print world, $120. Now, total cost for a student is $22.47. So throughout all of this, you're starting to see some big savings that are going to be occurring for families. And of course, these big numbers are if the student was buying the book brand new. It's not really accounting for if they could find it used. in print version, but still the savings are substantial. So these pages, let's see, it's page 1 through 13, I believe, is what we're bringing before you. I'm sorry, there's the page 19 pages of books that we're going to be asking you for approval for next month. Where there are large sum amounts, they are for teacher resources or what the district will pay for student licenses, and then we'll get reimbursed for that as students procure those licenses. Do you have some questions for me or for Hank? Is it either I can answer now or we can bring to you the next meeting?
And one of the things I would add is in total, we've adopted 125 ebooks in the last couple of years. And so some of these ebook cost price points are $10, $15, and the hardbacks can be 100 or more, so you can extrapolate that. And I think Hank has drawn up a couple of samples of what we can expect in terms of drops for fees for our parents, which would be a good thing. I'm sorry, Jim.
Oh, no. The saving the cost is critically important to the student and at the same time to the parents too. Just have a quick question regarding a particular course, like for example, world history. I believe we are expected to have a renewed using world history books, correct? Possibly? Just general
there are
world,
several from social science that are on the list.
social
yes.
sciences or world history. When we look at it, sometimes it depends on the school too or the district, but sometimes we are teaching a more old traditional information on social science or world history, for example. And I was wondering, because now we are living in the 21st century and there's so many things has been changed, or we made able to add a new information the students get able to learn and need to learn. But we just kind of continuously go by the traditionally, just learning the old example of informations and so on. And I was wondering if were we able to kind of really take a look at the new courses as we mentioned, and possibly see if there have been any updates.
Sure, and you know, one of the values of moving into this digital world is that those sources online are going to be continually updated. And our teachers and our administrators are plugged into the social science standards. But all of these have links that can be accessed by you to look at the detail. And if there are particular digital licenses that you would like to access and review, Hank can make those available for you to look at. So if you have a particular request, you can simply send him an email and he'll give you that link to look at it.
If I can ask you later.
Okay, great.
Well, I've got a question.
Sure.
So is there a committee of teachers, like the English books, new books are written all the time. How do you get to the ones you selected?
Well, you know, we have an approval process, and as you'll know, Mary, we are organized in main curriculum councils. So, for example,
I don't know what
the English chairs, all three English chairs, plus an administrator, in this case Audrey. Maybe I should let you explain your process. So, how do the English teachers and chairs go through their process to suggest books? Sure, from the front line.
And aren't there some people that suggest, like maybe a parent or a community person or something, a new book?
Sure, they could. We use course teams that are building, so everybody who teaches a given course, so we use English, for example, English course teams will get together. They'll decide, they'll look at their curriculum and decide what book best matches the skills they're going to be teaching throughout the course of that unit for next year, and they'll make recommendations to their department chair. The department chair then brings it to the other department chairs in the district. They then bring it to me as the English MCC chair, and then we submit it once we all approve. We ask our questions, what's the rationale, how does it support the skills, is that really the best book to get there? Fill out the textbook approval form, and then we send it to the district once we as a committee approve of that.
When does that process start?
We can do it in November, actually early at the start of the school year to do it in November for the second semester, or we do it now for next year.
And actually,
That's
we
what
have,
you're saying.
we have flexed even so that we can do it at any month now, but those are the two prime times.
But how much earlier did you meet to come up with these books?
About 2 months ago we started.
So it's a 60-day time period of a book being introduced. Does it fit the criteria?
It could be even earlier than that. For example, if there's a new course that we know we're putting in place for next year, they'll start at the beginning of the year to start getting books and looking to see what works best. Or if the book just isn't working well, after that unit, the team will start looking at a bunch of different books and then make the decision. And this process, in terms of putting out a form and sending it in, generally happens, has happened in the past twice per year.
But we're trying to be more nimble, so we've recently revised the board policy on this process so that we can allow books to be brought more frequently before the board. But in general, in order to facilitate gearing up for the school year or gearing up for the semester, the bulk of them occur twice a year.
So if there's antiquated information, you're talking, Jen, about social sciences.
Right.
Someone's got to know that it's out of date.
Right.
And someone's got to bring it to the attention of that committee.
But see, the beauty of going to Chromebooks and a digital textbook is that, whereas before you might have gotten trapped into carrying around a thick print book for 5 years that quickly is going to go out of date, right? Because things are changing in the world around us. Now when it's a digital book, those digital publishers are constantly updating and keeping current the geography, keeping current the world conflicts and the resolution of those. And so we're going to find that we're not going to have the problem of getting locked into one set of old information. It will be by the publishers kept up to date. Our licenses will just be able to access it.
And even well beyond that, we've said this for a long time, and it's never been more true than it is right now. We shouldn't be locked in or married to a textbook in the first place. In an information-rich society that we live in, we can get really good information on virtually any topic right now. And in fact, textbook companies, even with the best of intentions, probably can't keep up with real time, even if they're updated. So I think our best teachers are always have stepped outside and beyond a textbook for topics as they, especially in something like geography, where tomorrow can be different than today.
One of the other things that's really neat that we're finding is generally when you buy a big textbook, you don't use the whole textbook. There may be several chapters you like. So now with ebooks, you can create your own textbook with multiple chapters from different resources. So for algebra, you're not going to spend 20 weeks on one concept. Maybe you find a unit from a book that works really well, and several different textbook companies, then you can create your own textbooks and make it match your curriculum, which is pretty exciting.
So, but we have to have access to all of those.
Yes, and there are more and more publishing companies allowing you to do that.
The tipping point was
Yes.
The tipping point was about 20 months ago. We've been trialing one-to-one for a long time, but about 20 months ago, Pearson, the largest book publisher in the world, opened up the market on ebooks, and that was the tipping point for a lot of schools to really get into the ebook, because now the price point came down, and that's really synchronous when we launched the one-to-one. It was really about the cost of the books, because 3 years ago or 4 years ago, you could do one-to-one, but the ebooks cost as much as the hardback, so there was no savings in it. In order to build the device in, it really was about the cost of the books, and the market's changed in the last 20 months, and it's not going to come back. So I think this is going to continue to build in some savings for us moving forward.
Have we seen savings? Because now it's almost a year.
125 ebooks in the last 2 years. We can model, and Hank has provided a couple of models, I think.
He's going to, at the next board meeting,
Okay,
bring
okay.
you at least 5 book packs, so you can see 5 sample students. What would it have been like? What is it now? So you can see what those examples would show you in savings. And, confident that it's going to be substantial.
I think when we went to the one-to-one, at that time, we modeled, I want to say conservatively, we felt like it would be $300 or $400 over the life of the 4 years of the student. I think we'll exceed that, particularly as the ebooks grow. But so we'll be able to show you some very specific examples. Student with this schedule, here's what their new fees will be versus their old fees.
So from next year, hopefully, currently, I believe junior and seniors are using the Chromebooks? Freshman, sophomore.
Next
So
year will be
next-
freshman, sophomore, and junior.
Junior, right?
And then the following year, everybody.
Everybody.
Okay. All right, so the next packet in your book has to do with course costs and fees. And one of the major changes that I want to bring up to you is that the Chromebook fee is going to cost about 10% less than it does. No, I'm sorry, it's going to be reduced by about, from $305 to $300. So that's a little bit of a savings. You also have a course cost and fee summary document that Mary perhaps can talk to. But in your board book, you didn't have the complete version. I put one in front of you. There's some blanks on one of the columns. So if you want to see the more complete fee document, it's probably laid down in front of you. These fees, Mary, are the standard fees?
These fees are the standard fees, so we tried to do fees a little different this year and provide you with both the cost of the textbook and the cost of the by course, so that you get a fuller picture of what it costs to take English 1, because embedded in English 1 might be a book cost and a fee cost. So you'll see that throughout, but then there are fees that don't specifically belong to a course, such as the mandatory fees for each grade level, which includes items such as the Chromebook, the technology fee, the activity fee, the ID fee, the top PE towel fees, that every student pays based on their grade level, and then some optional fees, yearbook, instrument rental, based on what students choose to select to pay. So you'll see that over on 2 pages, and then the cost of each course, including fees on the remaining pages.
What we're trying to do is get much more transparent about what the real cost of a course could be.
So overall, roughly, let's say, in what year, basically all the parents could really actually save the money related to their children's utilizing these textbooks, changing it to Chromebooks?
I think they'll start saving every year. However, probably their first year and second year, they'll be paying the cost of the Chromebook with their savings, and then they'll start paying throughout their, but it's again going to vary dramatically based on what a student chooses to take. So if you have a student who is very much into photography and art, and that is 2 of their classes, because that is a material course, not an electronic. So of course, their fees are the materials, their clay, their photography paper. So those types of students won't see the savings. But if you're, were a Algebra 2 student who had an $80 algebra book last year and are now have an ebook for $12, you'll see a significant savings there. So it really varies, which is why we have come up with the book bag idea, because then you just grab random students and show you what their actual fees would be for all of the courses that they're taking.
The one caution that Nick wanted me to be sure to make too is that these fees represent the highest possible cost for each course, because they reflect the cost of a brand new textbook. And we know that many of our students buy them used or are able to get them online in a different fashion. So this is the worst possible scenario in terms of the fees for a particular course. In many cases, they're less than that.
But textbooks are critically one of the most expensive items for the parents, and we are really concerned about such. So when there is a good news, such as saving is such, if we can find a way to also share that information or good news to the parents, I think that will be appreciated.
I think you'll find that examples next board meeting will be helpful in communicating that too. So this will come back to you at the next board meeting as well. This is just going to be your first look at it. If you have additional questions, let me or Nick know, and we'll be sure to get answers for the next meeting.
Thank you, Barb.
next up is item 10, other items, monthly update on FOIA requests. 10?
We have 6 this month, and they're either all processed or in the process of being processed.
Okay, substitute teacher rate of pay, right?
Yeah, this is just informational for you for this month. We're not recommending any increases in the payments for our various substitutes, especially given our substitute teacher pool has been pretty healthy. We haven't noticed, a dramatic difficulty in finding substitutes for when our teachers are out. So we'll vote on this next month, but right now it's informational for you. There's no change over last year.
Thank you.
How is our average substitute that we need to hire? What's the percentage? Are we doing overall safety number? Do we have a lot of substitute that we need to use that number or what?
It depends on the time of the year. It depends on the day of the week. Mondays and Fridays, we tend to need more subs. And during the winter months, we need more subs because of illnesses.
People get sick.
A lot of people call in sick and we need substitutes, especially during the winter months.
I think the rate of that, I don't know if we have a figure that or not, but if we do see that more higher number, then we definitely need to be concerned about and find a way to reduce the percentage, I guess, having substitute teachers be higher or not.
How many are former teachers?
We have quite a few of our regular subs who are retired from 207, and they actually do, because they do a very good job for us, know the system, good with the kids, they command a higher daily rate than other daily subs. It varies from year to year.
Are African or more?
No, I'm talking about maybe, 10. We have about 200 people on our sub list.
And only about 8 to 10 are former teachers?
Former teachers in our district. Some of them are former teachers in other school districts. Others have a teaching certificate, but haven't been successful finding a job in certain disciplines like social science, potentially PE. But in order to be a substitute in the state of Illinois, you just need a 4-year college degree.
I know that.
You do not need.
I am one.
Not yours.
I like them when they're shorter than I am.
That's a good method.
I'm not even junior high. Oh, I wouldn't have it.
Any other questions on the sub rates?
No. We have, are there any other questions? Amended tentative final school calendar for the 2013-2014 year.
Correct, this is also informational for you, and since there are some more days left in the school year, and who knows what this spring may hold, we may get a sleep day or something. But the bottom line is that we have 5 emergency days built in, we've used 4, so we do have a buffer. We're not in, knock on Formica, we're not in jeopardy of having to extend our school year unless we have 2 more emergency closings before the end of the school year. But as I said, this is informational for you, and we'll get it approved at the next meeting.
President, I have to go back to something, but it has to do with the calendar. Okay. What holiday is April 6th?
It is a local school holiday. It's usually Good Friday.
No, it's for the board meeting. The board meeting is,
I don't know what you're referring to.
and the board, when we approved the board meeting dates, and I checked my phone, and it's a Monday.
I think it falls over spring break, that's probably.
It's Easter Monday, for whatever reason, next year they're getting that day as an exchange for something,
Who's
right?
they?
Well, the district, the calendar, yeah.
Calendar committee.
I don't think there's school that day for that year for students and teachers.
And wasn't there an issue last Labor Day that we had it the day after Labor Day, and we said maybe it should be the following week? There was some issues with absences on the board. And this, so I think we carried through the same issue again, and we said we wouldn't do that next year.
Labor Day or 4th of July?
Labor Day.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those days.
So
So we take a, why don't
Yeah.
you take a look at that, Ken, and
The
see if
September.
the September meeting and maybe bring a recommendation
Yeah,
next month.
as it stands right now, we've got it set for a Tuesday.
Yeah, it is like.
Yes,
Except
and I
for-
thought that was an issue last year, and we said maybe we should just have it the following Monday and not the day after Labor Day. I mean, it's hard getting paperwork to go.
September 8th.
I'm not asking for his request, I just am bringing up that we had issues last year, and it was hard for a lot of people to be at the board meeting, as I remember.
I think we typically had it on the Tuesday after Labor Day.
Yes,
all
and I
along.
think there were issues last year.
I don't recall them. Tuesdays. Does it pose any challenges for the
Yeah, that's what I
administration?
asked you.
I don't think so. I don't think it's, I think it's as far as it is long. I mean, if we wanted to do it on the 8th, Mary or Greg or Barb
Mary would be the one, if we delay a week, you're getting Carlin bills.
on the 8th.
No, because we always have the Prompt Payment Act, which allows us to pay within 60 days, not 30 days.
And I'm not even saying we should, I just remember there was discussion, it was very clear that we were going to switch it for the next year. I didn't think it was 4th of July, I thought it was Labor Day, could have been.
I thought it was 4th of July, but I
Well,
don't
then-
remember.
Then if it was, can we talk about that?
Well,
I'm trying to get out of a July meeting, that's my
Well, you can ask Mary.
we'll shut down.
We'll be short,
No.
but it has to be.
Well, the later you hold the board meeting in the month, the more that's gonna compact the available dates for committee meetings to occur before the next board meeting.
Yeah.
So the 8th is getting awfully late. You know, like the July meeting is already on the 7th because of the holidays, so.
Yeah.
Let's take, if the administration can take a look at what happened last year,
Okay.
look at the attendance and
Come back.
see if there's anything in your notes, Jenny, and just bring it back to us. If we don't have anything on here, I don't think we're gonna be able to act tonight anyway on that. So, but thanks for bringing that to our attention there, so it's always good if we can have a meeting date that's more,
So maybe
more
we have,
available to
if it
us.
was the July issue, which now the more I think about it, Jen, it was, then maybe that Tuesday that we did. Oh,
Next up is the school calendar survey results.
Yeah, again, informational item for you. We have the results from the survey that was conducted, I want to say in December. We have the results from the 207 staff members, results from the parent and community members, and we also have the results from the students. Real quickly, in a nutshell, all three groups are in favor of having a school calendar where final exam week is given before winter break. There are some special nuances that they don't like. So for example, students like having the entire week of Thanksgiving off of school. And they also like the idea of getting the school finished before Memorial Day. The issue that we have is we still have 179 student attendance days to cram in between two dates. And so, but even when you take into account the different changes to the calendar, and would that change their mind, overall, the majority of both students, staff, and community members are in favor of moving the calendar to such where final exams would be given before winter break. And the other thing that caught my attention too was the question posed to the students about their ability to seek summer employment, and there was a very high percentage of students that thought this would be a positive thing for them in terms of their summer employment needs. But as I said, this is informational for you at this point. The students, I included a lot of their comments, but you can take a look at those, and if you have any questions, I can be free to answer those today or.
And when would you potentially be bringing something else to us? I mean, what is your next steps in?
Well, we already approved a 3-year tentative calendar, so we have approved the 15-16 calendar in the traditional manner. However, the idea would bring this revised 15-16 calendar and the 16-17 calendar that would be revised to incorporate winter break finals before winter break at the next board meeting.
If our district say favor of changing to follow through based on this, how is that compared to, say, other schools or other states, let's say if we're on a vacation and they're not, it's also non-balanced too, right?
Well, first of all, you also have to keep in mind that our students our students go to school 5 days longer than the state minimum. Most school districts, believe it or not, they schedule the minimum number of students attendance days, and that is why when they have an emergency snow day, they have to extend their school year. We have that buffer of 5 days. When you compare states, you really can't compare states because state laws are different. There are certain states that have mandated starting dates. You cannot start school before Labor Day, those types of things. However, the trend in Illinois is more and more school districts are going to this type of a calendar where final exams are given before winter break. It mimics the college schedule better, and as we see more and more school districts getting out before Memorial Day, our kids are having trouble competing for jobs because other school districts' kids can accept those jobs and start sooner.
And the thing I hear from parents a lot is that they really wish that the kids could have the holiday break off, to really be a true break with family as it is now. So many kids they're studying a lot of that time off, and so I hear that a lot from parents.
Or when they come back, teachers have to take time to reteach to prepare for final exams because you had a 2-week break.
Have you talked to the feeder districts at all about, having a different start date in the summer than they might have?
Well, first of all, we don't have the same start dates now.
We're talking about a more substantial difference.
By about 7 days, yes. I'm on the District 64 calendar committee. I shared this draft calendar with them way back in November and October before we even did the survey to see what the results would. They're in favor of that. Their concern is just making sure that we line up our breaks so that spring breaks aren't staggered by a week.
So the summer break doesn't matter to them.
The big issue, the big sticking point for District 64 in the past, when we tried to do this, was not all of their buildings were air conditioned. I have met with the superintendent at 64, and he assures me all of their buildings have now been air conditioned, so that isn't as big of an issue as it was previously. And like I said, we currently have a few oddities in terms of some of the districts are in school on Veterans Day and we're out of school. Some are in school on Columbus Day and we're out of school, those types of things. But right now between the 3 districts, I think 63 starts 2 or 3 days earlier than we do actually.
Also, it catches my eyes related to benefits and challenges, especially for students. They're like more of a stress-free if we can adopt this, and I think that's critically important too, because as a school, if we can provide a much more stress-free to the students and they can accomplish better and positively, I think that's definitely the right track that we should lead our students to. So personally, I think I'm in favor of that idea.
So are the feeder districts looking to shift it as well, or are they only looking at aligning the spring break?
Well, for the elementary districts, it's not that big of a deal because they don't give necessarily final exams.
Right.
So they're mostly just concerned about making sure that, the spring breaks and those break periods line up. But, we're going to be a little bit different in our starting dates and ending dates to a certain degree. But like I said, they're informed of these changes, and they actually kind of look to our calendar first before when they decide to build theirs.
Well, and I think we had a question for the parents about, that it might not line up. I think we actually had that, but we still had a very positive response on the whole survey.
But I suspect what will happen moving forward is that they will more and more get in line with this as in a couple of years. I think they'll get in line and try to mimic our schedules. There are a couple of other iterations, like 62's got what they call a year-round school, so they've got a couple of different iterations anyway, so we'll never ever be perfectly synced up with every one of our center districts, but I think eventually we'll be much closer on the starting and end dates anyway.
Can you say we will be the pioneer school to implement this maybe?
Well, no, this is not a new idea. Where I come from, this is what everybody does, but, you know, and actually, in the superintendents in this area that I talk to, more and more of them are doing this, for the same reasons we are. I think with the increased load that our kids our American high school kids are taking more challenging courses today than they've ever taken, by far. So having a couple of weeks at holiday break to spend time with family and just recharge a little bit is not a bad thing.
And real quick, 2 more main points. The College Board schedules their AP reading the first week of June. Now, why they would schedule that the first week of June when they require hundreds and hundreds of teachers from across the nation to come to their facilities and grade AP tests, that's because most of the United States is out before the first week of June.
Yeah.
So what happens with us, all of our teachers who are AP teachers and get honored as AP readers, they have to miss the last week of school to provide this service to the College Board. While it's a good thing, it helps them learn how to be better AP teachers, they're also missing instruction for the last week of school before students take their finals exams. The other advantage of starting earlier is we will have 7 to 10 more instructional days for all of our students before they take the Prairie State test, before they take AP exams. Can't see how that's a bad thing.
Thank you, Greg. Greg, I believe we have some policies as the next item of first reading.
Yeah, real quick, 3 policies here for a first reading. One is on the reimbursement of expenses that we have made some minor tweaks to. And the second one, 2203, is a minor change. We have to change the title of our Assistant Superintendent for Business, make sure it has the designation of the Chief School Business Official in the title. And that's because in Illinois, you can be the business manager and not be covered by TRS. It can be an IMRF position. So this will help clearly designate this as a TRS position, because I'm sure Ms. Kalu would love to have a pension when she eventually retires in the state of Illinois.
And the third one?
The third one is student activities. This was a minor change to allow for a special type of account to be set up whenever we have student activity accounts that have been idle for extended periods of time, like over a year. And then any monies that are in those idle accounts for clubs that are no longer active can be used to serve as seed money for new clubs that get approved by the board. So they're not starting from scratch, going to their principal and asking to borrow money to start up a new club. So this is a good suggestion to help seed and fund our new startups.
So do we have like a general that seed club account, and then have all the money put in there, and then whenever there's a new clubs are formed, we can able to provide?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the idea.
This is the first reading, and you'll be bringing it back next month for
Exactly.
board action. All right, next item is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll move 12A to F.
Second? Second. Any questions or discussion? Anybody wants to pull anything? Okay, hearing none, Jenny, can call the roll?
Lee?
Aye.
Bessler? Aye. Owen? Aye. Sullivan? Lees? Childers?
Aye.
McGrath?
Aye. Next up is item 13, summer curriculum project. Sean?
That is,
Second, sorry. Second.
that's a repeat of the page I referenced earlier, must have been put twice in the article.
So we're not taking action at this point in time?
I think we're gonna bring you the detail at the next meeting, but these are the exact amounts that we are looking for board approval.
Okay, so you haven't put names with all of these amounts, but these are the amounts that we're,
Right.
okay. So we have a motion and a second for the budget for the summer curriculum project. Okay, any questions? Hearing none, Jenny, will you call the roll?
Hess.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Childers.
Aye.
Owen. Lays.
Aye.
Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. Next is the wellness proposal. Sullivan. Sullivan. Greg, talk about the wellness program.
Yes, same company, although they've been bought out a little bit and have a different name. I think Wellness Inc. is a subsidiary now of Optum Health. But it's the same process we've used in previous years. The rates did go up from, I want to say, $75 to $82. And we're following the same process where staff members are free to get the blood screenings done during final exam week in all 3 schools. And obviously, the cost to the staff member is significantly reduced compared to what it would cost them if they had these same tests done by their local physician.
This is the cost.
No, we're meeting, the insurance committee is meeting on Wednesday to determine, one of the things that we.
This is the maximum cost.
This is the maximum cost to the board.
Or to the city.
Last year, we used the retiree reimbursement program funds to seed this. We have seeded $15,000 for wellness initiatives because several years ago, we traded that for when we lost the employee assistance program because of low utilization. So a number of school districts, and I was quite surprised last week to find out that the majority of school districts are providing these wellness screenings to their employees at 0 cost because they're finding that the early catching of these diseases is a very cost-effective thing for their self-insured plans. So that's the type of discussion we're also talking about, does the employee pay a $20 fee for this, and the district pick up the balance so they have a little bit of a copay to do it. But we know that because this dollar value of a contract will be in excess of $25,000, we need to take the board action on the board's portion and component.
So are we taking action on this right now?
Yes. In order for us to set this up to do the screenings for June, but what we're doing is kind of a not to exceed the $82 cost per employee.
What's our participation rate?
We had about 639 employees participate last year.
It has, I will say, it has dropped off since it used to be a mandatory, and there were penalties imposed in terms of increased insurance rates. Since we had to stop doing that, obviously the participation rates have decreased.
But still,
But
What have we charged in the past, approximately?
anywhere from 0 to $75. For the basic blood draw, and then there's a kind of a, a la carte menu for some of the extra tests that many staff members choose to do out of their own pocket.
Did you say it's still Wellness Inc.? It's
Optum Health is the main parent company, but I think Wellness Inc. is the subsidiary group of Optum Health.
one of the cool things about it is they give you comparisons from year to year, so however many years you've done it, they'll tell you here's your cholesterol, or if it's gone down the road.
Blood pressure.
Oh, yeah.
So you established a baseline.
Yes.
Yes. And this is how, what is this, like 4 or 5 years?
Oh, more than that. Oh, about 6 or 7 years.
Does it that long? Okay.
I mean, we've had some tremendous success stories.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, this encouraged a teacher who was pre-diabetic and had on the course to daily insulin to lose 40 pounds and become the epitome of health. And it was like, when you trace it back, it's like, I took that blood draw, I saw my numbers, I didn't like what I saw, and I decided it was time to change.
Yeah, and the program that Mary mentioned before, the EAP program, which we probably were spending about 15 grand in, and had, you could count on one hand the number of participants annually. We work with the MTA to phase that program out and put the money here where it's having a much bigger footprint on our staff in terms of real usage and important usage.
Any other questions? Can you put the roll, please?
Childers. Aye. Lee.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Lays.
Aye.
Bessler. Sullivan. McGrath.
Aye. Next up is the Technology Manufacturing Association HVAC agreement. Second? Second. Mary?
At your places and in your board docs was the final execution copy. I was told that they would make every effort to get me the signed one over here.
I don't see it in the board docs. It's coming up at
I had this problem earlier. It was downloading on my computer at home.
There were two items in mine that weren't, so you've given it to.
I've given it to you in paper copy. The general terms is that the lease back goes from the date of closing, which was May 2nd, through a term no later than November 30th. It has a lease escalation clause beginning September 1st. It provides for a 30-day notification for them to terminate the lease. Also calls for up to 10 days during assessment abatement should they be forced them to vacate, that there's a rent abatement, and we would provide them alternative space here. They are leasing back 15,000 square feet. We have the ability, 5,000, I'm sorry. Square feet, we have the ability to begin construction starting June 1st. And the portion that they are not leasing back.
Can you read on how long they're gonna wanna be there?
They cannot be there any longer than November 30th.
Understand that there's some
They
flexibility.
continue to say, I mean,
Here's the spot that
they've had two deals fall apart.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're actively looking for space. I believe that as soon as they find suitable space and can get moved in, they will give us our 30-day notification and be out.
Okay, so you think that'll probably happen in pretty short order?
I'm hopeful, but I'm,
They
I'm
have-
not confident,
so.
yeah.
Well, one was a build out, the other one was kind of ready for the space they need. They wouldn't have needed to build out, and they would have evacuated, probably really quickly. They have, their executive director and now CFO have left both in the last 3 months, CFO just recently, so they're actively working on this. I think the real question is, do they find a match out there with real estate for what they need? They've got cash on hand to get something now, so that's, they can do that. I think they want to move as quickly as
And
possible.
what's the planned construction start date?
Planned construction start date is bidding an award at the August meeting.
Okay, so it's a ways off.
So it's a ways, because we have to do the design
Occupancy is
documents.
second semester of,
Occupancy is second semester, could move in a little earlier if it gets done, but we have the lease for ARC that goes through the end of January. And the administration center, we
should
can,
be soon.
Could be
sooner,
yeah.
could be later, depends on what ultimately the board approves as construction.
Okay. Any additional questions? Can you call the roll, please?
Childers. Aye. Lays.
Aye.
Owen. Aye. Bessler. Sullivan. Lee.
Aye.
McGrath.
Aye. Next up, item 16, Enernac.
So moved.
So moved. Second, thank you. Mary?
This is a 5-year agreement which calls for them to provide us with what's called energy curtailment days, which means that for days during the summer, they can call upon us on high demand days and ask us to reduce our energy consumption between noon and 8 p.m. In exchange for that, they pay us an annual amount based on our total kilowatt usage, and that amount over 5 years is projected to be just under $140,000. In the last several years, they have not called upon us to do an energy curtailment day. So it's kind of free money.
Who's giving them money?
Enernac does, because what they can do is, if we don't use the electricity that we have a locked-in fixed rate for, they can sell it to other people for a higher demand.
Well, sometimes, what do we know about like Enernac, or sometimes new companies who's been here like I mean, they're good and that, dandy, but sometimes there's a new company comes in and offering a XYZ special deal, and then sometimes they don't stay for many years, and they just put gun.
This is, I believe, our third 5-year agreement with Enernet, so they've been a fairly reputable company. A number of large educational institutions use them. So, we look at this, the worst case scenario, if they go out of business in year 3, we'll have still gotten $90,000 that we would not have for what I consider very little effort, because from noon to 8 in the summer are not our peak demand usages.
But truthfully, when the companies offer such great deals like that, what do they gain?
They gain because I reduce my energy consumption by 2,000 kilowatts, freeing up that grid for sale for everybody who's running their air conditioner at 70, and they
At
spike
market rate.
demand.
They're gonna get the market rate by selling them out there.
They're
Previously
making money,
rented
they're
us.
just sharing some of the money they're making with us. And they're sharing it even if they don't ask us to reduce our consumption.
Any other questions? Please. Owen? Aye. Sullivan? Lee? Lees?
Aye.
Childers? Sessler? Aye. McGrath? Aye. Next up is calendar items. I don't see any, any committee meetings that will,
Nobody's
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah. Finance is scheduled for May 13th. Buildings and grounds will be scheduled, we need one at the end of May, but it'll be kind of waiting for that, come up committee meetings, is that a Thursday? I mean, assignments, yeah.
okay, and then the three regulations are listed here on June 8th and 9th. Final exams, June 9th through 11th, and the last day of school is June 11th. Any other things you need to add to the calendar here? No? Okay. Thank you. Do I have a motion to go regarding communications?
Communication.
Yes.
It came to my attention actually, especially Dr. Huggins, your tool related to the transportation service for the Maine West. On general topics, a few months ago, someone was writing an article about a free bus requesting a transportation. They say there's no transportation from the north side of the city to Maine West. For the people who, that live in far away from Maine West, they have to take a bus to Maine East and wait for another bus and take that bus to the Maine West. And I guess they're asking because if the free bus might be available, why not recommending this transportation service for the benefit of the Maine West students? But what's the thought about this? What's the status, or what do we know about this?
Well, all of our students who take a bus take PACE buses to school, and that is the route that the PACE bus, for those students who live in that north side, they take a bus to Maine East, they get another PACE bus that comes to Maine West. So it's just a transfer. There's 2 bus routes that we have a transfer involved. It's a long way from Maine West, but it's the same price, same cost as anybody else taking the PACE bus.
Because it looks like, I don't know, the city might offer a free bus for the seniors and so on.
Oh, no, now, our kids get a discount rate on PACE.
Well, I think that's senior citizens.
Senior citizen, yeah, not
seniors in high school.
students, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a discount, and it's the same price for all students regardless of where they're coming from.
So
They
there's
just
no,
don't like getting on 2 buses. It's a long ride, too.
But we have several students that transfer, like some of our South students transfer to Cumberland Station, among other places. So we do have, that's not unusual for students to do bus transfers with PACE.
We don't have bus service.
We don't have our own bus
No,
service,
there is
so.
no
Township High District, they're exempt. Once we begin bus service, we must continue bus service indefinitely. So this is a multi-million-dollar cost to the district that we have avoided because we have been a grandfathered township high school district.
but I guess we don't have the data, but can we say strongly look into this matter if the number of students who's living in North Subaltern Avenue and who might be able to utilize this route, inconvenient route, and they have to wait those long hours and 2 buses going to Main West, certainly we might be able to look into find some other strategic way to help assist the students maybe in the future.
There's so few students that PACE will not run a separate bus for them, we've asked. So they have to get on the public transportation with everybody else in the morning. And that's why we've asked if they'll do 1 run, but there's a handful of kids, I think we're talking 5 or 6.
Or find other transportation.
Or find other transportation, which most of them end up doing by their junior year.
We know which items we have on the session.
A through E.
All.
Yes.
I take a motion to go to closed session to cover student personnel review, closed session minutes. Appointment and access, and this going to dismiss persons and employees, follow and implement the vacation and collection of the matter.
Hayes. Sullivan. Owen. Bessler. Childers. Lee.
Aye.
McGrath.
We are in closed session.